One of the subjects I think is interesting. It's just that. It's how does environment enter the world of investment, finance?
Yeah.
How does one today? It's like two worlds living in parallel. How would you go about this?
Yeah. I think, in fact, it was two worlds living in parallel. It is clear now, and the Global Risk Report clearly states that the main risk on business and for the human beings in general is environmental risks. The top 5 risks on this report are environmental risks. Failure in climate change adaptation, biodiversity loss, and which means that our model is degrading environment, and in response, the environment is putting high pressure on business and on the biosphere. So the immediate response should be, let's improve the state of the environment. Let's find solutions based on the nature, which will be fruitful for business and for everything. Here is the link. The link, we saw this link, we felt it. Now it looks obvious from this risk perspective. Now we have to go beyond this risk perspective and to ensure that the response is through improving the state and all the services provided by this environment, and wetlands in particular. And what we are working on for decades now in the Camargue is understand how the wetlands functions on a biological perspective, but also for the human use. And what we demonstrate is wetlands is the most productive ecosystem on Earth, and a lot of resources we rely on come from wetlands, including water. In the past decades, when we thought about wetland, we thought about wasteland. It stinks, we have mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes,
yeah. And we completely forgot the key services wetland provide to humanity: water provisioning, food, material, expanding floods, fighting against droughts, depolluting. It's the kidneys of nature. It's a big sponge, for water retention. And all these key functions were completely ignored. And thanks, unfortunately, to climate change, this comes up at the top of the agenda. And what we are saying is, look, okay, we are facing big problems. These problems comes from the environmental degradation, and wetlands are part of the solution, these nature-based solutions.
I'm sure the knowledge you're developing in observation could also be used for urbanism, for many things, because if you think about it, most cities were built around rivers.
Yeah, that's right.
And cities need also this ventilation. So I think your research can be expanded to many fields.
Absolutely.
And investors today, they're always worried about the risk they're taking. Probably the people who funded orchid farms in Australia didn't realize that by using the water for flower growing, they were going to create such a big mess.
Yes, right.
They should have spoken to people like you
Yes,
beforehand with the investors to say what should we do to be able to manage both problems.
As you rightly said, urbanism, for example, most of the cities have been built along rivers or close to wetlands, but they have destroyed or covered tunneled the river.
Absolutely.
And while it is proved that if you have wetlands inside the city, if we have vegetation, you drop the temperature in summer by
and the
5
pollution and
degrees.
everything.
Yes, the pollution and so on. So, but it seems to be so obvious and cheap that no one wants to invest in it. It's too cheap.
I think it's very important that you come here and meet the community, the financial community, and see what are the steps to be taken with them, because I figure out they're speaking about the problem, but they don't know where to go for the solution.
For me, it's amazing because we are, as all of us, in our small world. So we are speaking to biologists, to environmentalists, and we try to speak to others. But here, and we just had a presentation and some very interesting discussion with people investing in technology, and they strongly believe in technological response. We do believe in nature-based response. And this dialogue is quite fruitful. I think both are going to move a bit towards each other. The overall trend is really worrying. But what makes me optimistic is at least 2 things. As I mentioned, everybody, including the business world, is clearly realizing that environmental collapse is going to lead to business collapse. And the business is quite reactive. If they have a risk, they have to fix it. And so I do believe that they are going to react fast and to find solutions. And it's where we need to be in the loop to propose solutions. It's not the ultimate solution, but it's part of the solutions. The second thing which makes me optimistic is that it is the younger generation. Here we see an incredible force, power,
There's
will.
there's a pressure, yes.
A huge pressure. And these two elements combined should lead to
To a positive outcome,
positive and
yes.
quick outcome.